Hi, I'm Peter Travers, and this is Popcorn, where we tell you what's happening at the movies. And, you know, even though you're looking at your calendar and it's only saying it's May, it's summer at the movies because this is when summer begins. And it begins with a movie called Thor. He's the god of thunder. He's got the hammer, just like I have here. Thor is so big. It's a giant $150 million epic that stars Chris Hemsworth, who will be with us in just a minute, and is directed by that Shakespearean expert, Kenneth Branagh. How do you combine these? Well, you're going to have to see. So before Chris and Kenneth get here, let's take a look at a scene from Thor.
Thor, Odin's son, you have betrayed the express command of your king. Through your arrogance and stupidity, you have opened these peaceful realms and innocent lives to the horror and desolation of war! You are unworthy of these realms, unworthy of your title! You're unworthy! I now take from you your power! In the name of my father and his father before, I own it, your father! Cast you out!
Chris Hemsworth, Kenneth Branagh, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
You guys probably don't know it, but you've done a movie called Thor, you know, which is now opening everywhere. And the interesting thing for me to start off with is that, Chris, you're playing Thor, who's a god. You know, forget these other Avengers. You know, they're Iron Man, Spider-Man, I don't know, they're nothing. You're a god. So how does it happen that you look at Chris and you'd say, yes, you are the mighty Thor. You are who I see as God.
Well,
I mean, it's an interesting casting session. I don't know what the conversation was.
It was I'd auditioned across a few months and was sort of in and out of the mix, and I don't know, what was it?
I don't know, when you brought your own throne in and everything, and you started, you remember those days when you created thunder and lightning, and you said, would this be helpful?
Yeah,
when I did that, when you created a tempest, yeah. That I found.
With the hammer?
The hammer, yeah, the cape, strapped. And of course flying into the office was useful as well.
That was, I thought,
that
a little
caught
much,
my
and
attention.
I thought, no, I'm just going to do it.
No, it was worth it. I think you were brave. I think you were right to do it.
All that acting technique that you require to be a god. But no, what would be? Do you have a conversation with Chris and then just talk and say, yeah, this is good?
The truth is, it took us a while to evolve what we thought from the many choices you could make about how the character develops in the comics or in the Norse myths. Well, how will it be for this film? And we decided on this origin story that did have him start very godly in the sense of entitlement, privilege, definitely a sense of somebody who could, who was part of a royal family, expected things.
Kind of an arrogant bastard as well.
What realm is this? Alfheim? Dornheim?
New Mexico?
You dare threaten me, Thor, with so puny a weapon?
What? He was freaking me out.
Yeah, well, to begin with. And so actually one of the things we did ask Chris to do was to, at one point, was just to tell a story. Up in Valhalla, they tell the stories of their deeds, their warrior escapades. So there was a moment where we asked for the telling of a tale to his friends in a fairly fulsome, rather arrogant manner, and that was where we wanted Thor to start from. So we asked him to do that, and then we also wanted the character to go on a journey that was right to the opposite end of that, where there was something more thoughtful and more naked and vulnerable, and where he talks to another person. And we also asked him to do that.
You pick up the Hollywood Reporter. There, the two of you are with Anthony Hopkins, and it says, make or break. This is it. You are going down if this isn't a hit. You know, and I'm thinking, what does somebody do when they read this? The $150 million gamble, you know? Yeah. And that's when you get to say, it was his fault. He did this to me, you know, this was it. What, when you read things like that, do you try to do?
I think that you say, hey, I noticed that I've been doing this now for 30 years, so I guess as the song goes, I'm still here. Yeah. And, you know, it's a very simple intent here, whether it costs, you know, $15 or $150, we are trying to give pleasure. We're trying to entertain. It's a simple, honest endeavor. We try and do the best we can. There is no more than we can do than that.
Just a band of players.
Well, just in the end, it does reduce itself to something quite simple. Is there any point in me getting all wound up about, oh, but what if and what if? No, it's back to like the rehearsal floor, or back to, frankly, it's back to the script. That's where it all starts.
Absolutely, and it's I mean, when isn't it a risk? You know, there's some sort of, you read things like that are all of a sudden a surprise, like as if previously making a film for 200 million or 150 million was an easy bet. You know, I mean, it's you know, I don't think, as far as for me, you know, being surrounded by Ken and the people in it was certainly a surer way to, you know, take some of that risk out. But
also, I guess, you know, one answer to that is, oh, well, then we won't do it.
Yeah.
We better not do it then. We better not do it in case we fail or we lose some money. That would be simpler, wouldn't it? Excuse, hello, Marvel. Yeah, we're all a bit scared now, so probably easier. I tell you what, we've saved you, though. We've saved you $150 million. But in fact, you know, you always have to take the, it's all a risk, isn't it?
But in this growing up, were you reading these? Do you know what these comics were, or is this something that just happened when you got to do this movie?
I hadn't read them. I had sort of loosely known about the character, I think more from the Norse sort of Viking mythology around it. And when I got the part, it was about, you know, educating myself with stacks and stacks of Thor comic books.
That's nice research.
Well, it is nice research.
Yeah.
I knew that comic. I didn't know many. I didn't know really the modern urban ones, and it seems so far away for me. But I do remember Thor. I remember just because of those 4 title letters at the top of the page. It reminded me of Stonehenge, the great stone circle in England that we were familiar with, and he reminded me. I used to go to Sunday school, tales of Samson, and then you'd hear about Hercules and other strong men. Thor was in that group, and I just remember pictures of him always somehow under a yoke and you know, with arms as big as tree trunks, and always dramatically presented with storms and weather, and usually Loki with a big horned helmet behind him. Very vivid, very striking, kind of gothic kind of images.
Chris came in with storms, you know.
Yes.
That was it. He's still doing that. But do you try to, especially when you're doing a different accent than your own, do you try to stay in character all during the making of this movie?
No, I've done that before on a film, and it was like 4 months and just was exhausting. I just felt like the whole time I was lying to people outside during takes, you know, doing an accent. And then 30-40% of your attention's on the accent, and then the rest of it's, you know, you're trying to have a conversation. But no, this was a great dialect coach, and talking with Ken, and diction and pronunciation and tonally, and you know, I feel that I'd rather do all the work beforehand and train your muscles to fit into that way of speaking, and then on set it's there, you know, in between the takes. But in between, no, just to stay loose and, you know, talk about something else actually.
I was a stranger in the city, out of town were the people I knew. I had this feeling of self-pity, what to do. The outlook was decidedly blue.